Well, this is Chairman Hunter of the Freedom Nation, and this is a geek live. Okay, I mean this is all about being a little geeky today, and I'm not necessarily promoting this one out or pushing out. You can please feel free to share it if you come across it, but otherwise, this is just our work day. It's winter in Kazakhstan. It's negative 22 degrees outside. Our guys are still working down at the housing factory. You know, there's like so many pieces to this whole thing when it comes to like just be honest with you, when it comes to the building the village, this idea of doing what we do, which is building black towns. And I mean, it's look, I'm not trying to make any. I'm fixing my camera. I'm not trying to make any. What's the thing I'm looking for? I'm not trying to make any statements as like, we know everything we're doing. We're so on top of it. We are on top of it. But, you know, folks probably should understand exactly how much goes into building actual towns. Like, I was looking at different initiatives the other day, and I get irritated a little bit that we started Freedom Village, Georgia, quite some time ago. Now it's been 10 years. And we chose to minimize our publicity. Like we wanted a certain amount of publicity, but we didn't want so much that it started driving people in before we had a chance to actually realize anything. It's very dangerous to over publicize. It's really dangerous to over publicize. So we tried to take our time and just try to solicit enough to bring in the people who really wanted to work. That's really important. You bring in the people that really, really want to work. And if you do that, you end up getting this, and you screen them, you get this high quality of people that we have in the Freedom Nation who are at the table, ready to work, ready to do what we came out to do, which is collectively develop a village for us, for us, by us, not necessarily for us by me. That's not the point. Okay. There's expertise and gifts and talents that each person brings to the table. And that's something that we pride ourselves on. But there's so many pieces of it. This is one. This is a truly geeked out piece of it. And it's the architectural design and development of it. But the level of detail that we're at right now is we've designed a house, okay, and we're prepared to build it. We've already ordered all the lumber and everything else. And now we're going through and breaking it down so that it can be in little itty bitty chunks so that somebody else inside of the factory that we've already set up can go in and build the house piece by piece. I want to show it. I'm going to share it with you. Hold on one second. Let's hear it. Okay, so I'm sharing it with you. This is that space that I'm referring to. This is that piece by piece by piece thing that we're developing in the Freedom Village. And it is, in my opinion, what you're looking at is you're probably thinking like, what in the hell is he talking about? All I see is a wall. Well, that's it. You see a wall. And excuse the little thing over on the side, but I'm trying to also keep the comments up so I can read them at the same time. Let me shrink this down a little bit. Then let me slide this over. We'll stick it over in the corner. That way we can communicate. So this is that piece by piece, and this is the level of granular detail. And listen, for every single piece of wood that you see inside of our drawings, those pieces of wood exist in real life, and each one has to be nailed, measured, everything else. So, we're building the master plans in order to design the house. So let me show you what it is really, so I can show you in this software. This is an awesome software, right? And I think that if you're talking about doing this kind of work and you think that you holistically can just hire somebody for this, you're unrealistic. Like seriously, like, do you have any idea how much money you have to raise in order to try to pony all this off into other people? It's almost impossible. It's a lot. So here's the frame of our house. This is the everything we're building here. I'll be fair and show you the actual house. There it goes. That's the actual house. Okay, and we removed the doors just because it was for another application. But it's nice. But as you can see, it's broken into segments. So even the roof is in these little segments. And then we have everything. So this is how we build our houses. This is how we try our best to reduce our supply chain costs. We could take labor of different levels and we can break the house down. And listen, I've told you straight up, man, this is a geek. This is Geek Live. So if you're on here, feel free to comment. And feel free to talk. It's an open conversation. But this is darn sure, man. This is definitely a geek live, and I mean, I like a geek live. I'm a geek. I'm a geek, man. I'm a happy geek too. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see if I can. It says I'm live. I don't use StreamYard, but I'm using it now. Okay, so this is just a working thing. So anyway, what we do is we break each one down. Every single unit in here has an ID. You can come and look. And then each one that has an ID gets broken down. And let's see. And let me see if I can find it really quick. We have a base wall. These are the families, groups, sheets. Okay. So each one has an ID, and we have to design each one independently. So like, for example, if I grab this piece of wall and I segment our view box just to that piece of wall, let's just say we just want to grab that single piece of wall there. Okay. And then we're going to pull in our view box up here, right there. And then we're going to grab our view box and stick it over here. And the piece of wall that we're trying to segment is just this one little piece of wall right here. So this there, that doesn't have the window in it. It's just a shutter that's over the top of the window. So there goes the wall, right? This is the actual wall unit. Back all the way up to its edge. And then pull all the way in from the front. All right. So what the factory will get essentially is this, which looks benign, I guess. I mean, it looks simple. Here we go all the way to the wall, right there. Okay, they'll get this. But then what they'll do is let's take visibility and let's take away the wall because that's more of the design wall. Okay, and then let's add in structural framing. All right, and there you go. So you have just the wall segment all the way up to the connecting plate on the top. Okay, and back in off of that area there. And later we can remove the roof and everything else and you can see it. But this is what we manufacture. We don't manufacture the slab. The bottom plate that's down at the bottom is the base plate. So the base plate gets added onto the slab. This is the base plate right here. Let's grab it. It's right there. So basically what they do is they run the slab. Once they run the slab, they put this 1 2x4 all the way across. And you can see we kind of have a base plate plan right here. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Foundation base plates. Okay, so there's the base plates. And so we have this big old house, and then you lay down the base plates here. And we, of course, have to measure this out because the person going to do this needs to come out there and they need to be able to literally run this slab and then put every single piece of wood down. And they drill this down with a screw that's, to code. And we put everything inside the place that it's supposed to be once they run the slab. And then the walls that we manufacture then get sat on top of the base plates, right? And each one, it gets sat on top of the base plates. And you can kind of see the breakdown. This one has a total of, let's see, floor, wall. We want a wall material takeoff, wall quantities by assembly. Okay, so this will give us our walls. Yeah, yep, this will give us our wall. And you can see the grand total at the bottom down there. It's 78. So we're going to build 78 walls in the factory. And we can break down each wall and how much each wall costs. But we're going to build 78 walls in the factory. And those walls will consist of everything you see here. So you see all of the framing elements of it. Then we also make room for wiring and for plumbing. But this would be the framing, the plumbing, the sheathing on the outside, the insulation on the inside, the sheetrock, and everything that goes to make up that wall, that one wall unit. We can price it out, and then we can segment it, measure it out, and make it available holistically. And just here, I can just put like this, and this will allow you to see it. As a matter of fact, let's go from the front view. All right. And so once this goes to the factory, this will break down everything. They'll know that this single piece of wood here, and you can see the length of it, exactly the length of it. There it goes right here. And then what it tells you, the length of it tells you the mass. It tells you whether or not each end is 90 degree, 45 degree cut, whatever, single stud. It's 9 feet 6 inches, this particular framing membrane. And I'm looking at it. Side stud tells you the type of wood that it is, everything else, and all of that's there. And this is how we're breaking this down for the factory. So this was my full model. So I want to get it back to where it was real quick. Hold on, let's see. Let's grab it out. And let's pull out from here. And let's come back. Okay. And it kind of, it's weird to me. You either got to be able to do two things really, really well if you're building a village, and you got to do both. No matter who you are, you got to do both. But you're going to have to either be a great designer and builder, right? And that great design builder, that'll shave down tons of the costs that you'll have to pay in order to get your village going. We're going to take the framing out of this one. Hold on, let's get the framing elements out. Or you got to be darn good at raising a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money, right? I mean, a lot of money. Because building a village is expensive. When you hear about people in the city, before you start talking about this, let's build a new black town and all that kind of stuff, really you should go online and look at the budgets for your town. And what you should do is not even look at the budgets for like your town. Go look at the budgets, because you most likely live in a big city. Go look at the budgets for a small town. Like find a small town, that has their stuff online. I don't want to do that. I want to put the walls back in. There we go. Okay. So, and there's our house again. But look at this is great software. I'm just telling you, nothing like it. It's awesome. What I'm doing is I am fixing an error that was when we set it out, and that's how we framed out the windows. So I'm putting this plate here, and then there's a plate here that's rest on top of the king studs that are there. And then you have to double up a 2x8 and then a 2x4 and then put its bracing here. And in some cases that bracing has been laid out in such a way where it's not really realistic, because what will happen is when we go to do our measurements, it'll be off, right? It'll tell us that piece of wood is that long, and that's not really the truth. It's 2 pieces of wood, not one, that need to sit like that. So I have to go in here kind of one by one and break it apart and make sure that any overlaps of any of the framing elements are taken out. So right now I'm just working on the windows, and you can see I got all of these windows in. They're done the right way. Okay. Their headers are fixed in. So now I'm just trying to fix the headers on that one too. So hold on, let me pull it back out. I'm going to work on this far wall over here. And a lot of people, look, I am holistically focused on developing what we've started. I am not really have the energy to cheerlead for other people's initiatives. There are other people who have started things, and I don't believe that they took the time to skill themselves up with knowledge prior to starting it. They had done just a couple of things. But, the more you do stuff, the more you get into it, the more you're sincere about your work. Let's get that right. I'm trying to get this right. Let's see. The more you're sincere about your work, then the more I wonder if I can do this. Hold on. Let me try something weird. Let's see if I can try and do this with, save it. But let's see if I can use that and then click my section box. Nah, it didn't work. Okay, I'm going to have to play. There's got to be a way with the section box to make it a little easier to pull it up against the wall, and I'll figure it out at another time. All right. So anyway, let's bring this down because I need a better view just of the top. I don't need all of that. All right. And I think I have everything. But I think they have great intentions. But the thing is that they just haven't taken the time to understand exactly how complicated and how many skills go into building an entire development. These big companies, they build neighborhoods. I mean, look at Beazer Homes, or, they build 75,000 homes a year. And, they have it down to a hell of a process. They hired a lot of people. They have a huge amount, multi-billion dollar credit line. Multi-billion dollar credit line. That's what you're competing against when you talk about building these towns and stuff. You're competing against a multi-billion dollar credit line. I remember John Whelan was around. John Whelan, as far as I know, and this is only the little piece that I know, had a $500 million credit line from the bank to build. So you see my headers, like this back window doesn't have the proper header on it at all. And so I'm going to go in and repair that. So let's work on the back wall. And I remember being in his office and seeing the developers, the designers, they were always working. He had a portfolio, I think, of about, it was 50 or almost 100 different designs. And, I remember the conversation around his portfolio, and it was like, that was the prize, right? It was one of the huge prizes, was this portfolio of house drawings and designs that they had. We're going into this situation with no portfolio. Even if you buy the house designs online, they're like $3,000 just for the starter. And then to get them customized to your land and stuff, it's another $5,000 to $10,000. So, you're talking about a huge investment. People talk about building these developments that have, 20, 30 different types of houses in them. Where are you going to get designs from? Because for every single design that you're talking about, it's a minimum $10,000 to $20,000 investment. And at a $10,000 to $20,000 investment, and it's because we're doing what we're doing right now, right? I wanted to, this is why I'm showing it. It's not the easiest thing to do, and it has to be right. Okay, hold on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this, set it another one on top, and that's overlapping now. And I'm going to turn it up on its side here, cross section 90 degrees. I don't think that's the one I'm supposed to hit. There's one in here that says 180 slope. This is for CNC router. I love this software. It already is thinking about automation. There's a point in time where I pray to God we get to the point of full automation. All right, so 90 degrees, just add another 90 degrees. So let's just put 0. Right, it should turn up on his head. All right, so we turn up on his head, and then I already have the 2x8s plugged in here. And then we're going to take the 2x8. We're going to sit this on top of the king plate, back it on the edge, select it, but we should right now go ahead and copy this one from the edge up to the top there. And what we've done is we did this, okay? And so then we're going to take this header here. I'm going to take this, select the top, and just put up this small adjustment. So it's giving me a little error. All right. Let's hold down my key and do it all together. 1, Okeechobee, 2, Okeechobee, and let's make sure we don't. Yeah, that one's not there. That one's resting on this. As a matter of fact, what we can do with this view is go ahead in the view and knock out the windows. Here we go. Uh-oh, I didn't take out the window frames. Let's see. Windows, structural framing. We can click on it and find out what family. It says trim window flat picture frame. All right, so we want to get rid of it for now. Let's see if it's under detail items. It's not. Let's add that back in. Curtain panel systems, fire alarms, flex floors, furniture, lighting, lines, mass. Let's expand this. Hangers, pipe work, duct work, ancillary framing. I don't think that that's it, actually. Parking parts, piping fixtures, piping, planting, plumbing, railings, ramps, raster images, roads, security devices, signage, site. Yeah, if you haven't figured out, the software lets you break everything down, like every single part of the construction down to this. And by the way, this is Revit. It's a product from AutoCAD. It's Revit 2024, excuse me. If you ever want to try out these systems, if you're part of a school, if you are an educator, you can get a year's free license. All right, I'm not going to be able to find this right away, and I don't want to get rid of it a different way, which I could always just click it and then right click it, hide family. Like edit family is here, but I don't want to do it this way. Hide and view category. I don't want to do it that way. So okay, I'll just be able to look. I mean, I know the plate is there, and I know it's sitting on top of those two studs. And my king studs are here. King studs, jack stud, my jack stud, excuse me. Jack stud is here. King stud is on the side here for framing out the window. I have a single 2x8 resting on here, and now I need another 2x8. And then I need to do this to every single window. So let's go here. And let's use the copy tool. That's not the way I want to do it. Use the copy tool, take this edge, put it right here. And there we go. And there we go. Now I got a proper header over the window. As a matter of fact, might as well bring the windows back in. Right. So the proper header window. And if you're wondering why there's this little bit of room in between the window, it's because of the exterior siding and all the other stuff that goes up to here and then leaves room for this window. But it's just the way it was designed. So the way you can see that is with the walls. Like if I add the wall back in, you can see the wall presses all the way to it. It's because there's a layer in those walls that accounts for everything that has to go on those walls. The sheathing, so forth and so on. Those are all the other things that go on that wall. So that's why you can see it like that. All right, now I got to do the header over the door because that's not right. But in this case, we can actually just, now what is that? I know it is. It's a consequence. Let's go 2x8s. I'm going to rise it up the same way. We'll take and cut off to the edge. I want to see the jack stud. There. That's what I want to see. And from there, I can bring these level with the jack stud. Bring those in. But then we're going to have to take one. And what we can do is, once again, just duplicate it. This is the detail work, right? I mean, there's some parts you can do a little bit quicker, but this is definitely detail work. And we're going to do the same thing. Flip this over to 90. Well, it's at 180, so take the 90. And then we're going to take this. We're going to set it to 2x4. Here, here, and here. And then we can select it. And what we're going to do, that's at the wrong height actually. So what I'm going to do is just a little bit offset. I'm going to have to come back and then put that right. So yeah, I hear you. Saying it's not overlapping or anything, which is correct. And then we're going to select this piece of wood. And we'll take the top, put it to the, well, no, we won't. We'll take the bottom and put it to the top of jack stud. There we go. And now we can, let's see. You know, it's so funny because I didn't check to see if my audio was working right, and I is, so I'm grateful. Okay, so we're gonna move this here. And then move this here, and there we go. And the header to the door should be a lot better. We now need to move all of this up, which in hindsight might have been better just to delete this. We can add it back. But then use this. Okay. Yep. Frames the header. Different. And now we can go back and put that one piece of wood back in place. There you go. It's a lot better. You know what? Let's add the visibility. Let's see if we can redo it again. We don't. So we have sun path, shadows, detail. One of these has hidden. It's supposed to be just really easy right there. Reveal hidden elements. All right, so that's the door and the wall. Everything else.
It's always wonderful. You're always such a, what is it called? Some charger in my life.
Right. So that frames out that wall. Okay. So now let's do the last header over on this little itty bitty window. And this is, bottom frame is fine. Now this won't work. So this is not with code, the way that these run all the way up. We're going to have to bring this back out and cut this wall. So that's another piece of work that needs to be done to make sure that that's right. Yeah. But one thing at a time, or else we'll end up losing our way. All right. Let's come all the way in here. Okay. And let's come in here again. There's this part. And let's duplicate it again. It's one. Actually, we might as well speed up this process a little bit. All right. Going to take this up. I could offset it by 8 inches, but I'm just blah, 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 blah. I'm looking for the see. Now let's take this and do the same thing. 0. So I put no mistake. All right. What did I miss? Zero. Oh, I see what happened. It's 2 of them. That's why I messed up. That's better. So think about like every time you do something in the software, it creates an actual order on the floor in the factory. And actually, you know what? I have some recent update from the factory. Hold on. Let's see if we can. One recent from the factory. You can see.
I'm going to I'm dropping.
One second.
I'm sorry.
Hmm?
I'm sorry, I didn't know you were on the phone. I'm going to teach, but I'm going to get salt for it first and bring it back to Zuleika, and then I'm going to teach. And then I'll be back in an hour. That's fine.
You more love than that. Thank you. All right, so like this is from the factory right here, and you can see right here where we had dried out the timber. And once we dried out the timber, I think I'm seeing one of the problems I have here now. Once we dried out the timber, you see our guys, they actually run it down to size. A lot of scrap. And we're hoping to use that scrap for OSB. Right. These are actual guys. This is for this house I'm actually designing on right now. Okay. And then you'll see the actual stack of timber. And like I said, they're pulling from the kiln piece by piece to get it all out. And it makes structural lumber here. right? And that's our structural lumber. And we make it straight from the forest, and then we have to get a grader to come and grade it. And then once it's graded, it's ready. So everything in here is, piece by piece. We want to maximize the use of every single piece of wood. I thought it was interesting to show this because I know a lot of people never get a chance to see the intricacies of laying out, designing, building the houses, especially that would go in a very unique development like this. Okay, so let's bring this one back down. Bang. And let's twist it. Let's do the same thing. Let's choose the surface here. And let's make it flush that surface. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And people used to do this in 2-dimensional AutoCAD. I don't know how the hell they did that. In Autodesk. And I just, not my forte. I'm a 3-dimensional man. I'm 3 dimensions. Hold on, let's see. All right. There you go. Now we can go back and look at this well. And the wall has appropriate headers over the top. All right. Now we break down this wall segment. Okay. Okay. Now let's take a look. I'm worried about these 2 door headers. There's one door here, and this door is not holding a large load. So I think I'm okay with it being kind of simple. This door is not holding a large load. It's just where the, what do you call it? We have to correct this. This is here like this. We should pull that back. It's not quite a large load. It's just holding the little place where the hot water heater goes. Let's pull back. All right. We'll look at this side of the house. We have another window here, but there's a thing about this window. I don't think this is a window anymore. We have a small problem because this has become a door. Yeah, the client wants to change this to a door. So this is one of those things that, the longer you do this and the more you do this, the more you have to be careful when you go forward because, it's cool here. We have a load bearing area here, but the more you start changing stuff, the more complicated it gets because this is why when you're designing something or you're building something, change orders can be really expensive because now, it was a process going in 1, 2, 3, 4, and we got to this level of the house. But now when we go to do a change, I gotta go back out. I'm going to have to completely reframe that entire area all over again. So right now, I'm just going to look at the headers across all the windows that I know. I'll look internal into these windows. I'm looking at these windows right here right now. And I see that I still need to pull these up to the top. But pretty much started on this. The only one I'm missing is this one, but this one is okay because we're going to reframe this entire segment. And I think it's only this one segment, this one wall segment. You can see the wall segments. There's a cut right here. So when we put these walls down on the ground, we literally put the wall here on the base plate, and then we put the entire wall and just sit it. So what we're doing is we're just doing all this work in a factory in a place where it's inexpensive. But I do need to do this door right here. That one needs a better header on it. Some of the internal doors are not so bad. We'll have to get into those too. But yeah, that's enough sharing for today. So anyway, I hope for my true building geeks, the ones who understand that it's not just about talking and jibber jabber running your mouth and having some nice videos. That's good. It gets people to the table, but the actual village is built piece by piece, hand by hand, little nugget by nugget. Every little thing has to be worked out. Every little project has value. We have to think through each little, what does the well look like? How do we get water? How do we think about water for 100 houses? That's some serious planning, man. Um, like I was saying, usually like when people develop a piece of land, even a large developer, if they were going to develop a 50-acre subdivision, do you know that the large developer will take a minimum of 5 years? That is a developer who has all the money, all the staff, everything in place. It still takes 5 years of planning, 5 years of permitting before they can even start a single subdivision. Yeah, 5 years. And a lot of people are being hard on these folks who are Black people, who had an idea in their heart, who went out to go develop something. I'm not saying everybody's intent is good. Don't get me wrong. But for the ones that are, they go out and they try to develop the space. First, they got to learn. That's a 5-year process. No way you get in less than 5 years. Then they got to raise money. Now, a lot of them, I'll tell you, what they do wrong is they start raising money before they learn. That's going to waste a lot of cash. That's not nice. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it. If you're going to build one of these like developments, and I don't know who might see this video later. I don't know who might actually, get in there. But, my message that goes with it is that have a little more patience, be a little more involved. The idea is that in 10 to 20 years, we will have some great Black developers. In 10 to 20 years, there'll be some great Black developers who know how to build Black villages, Black towns. But for right now in our country, we have very few developers at that scale. Ones that can come in and build 200, 300, 400 housing units from the ground up from raw land. Almost no Black developers do it at all. There's like a handful. You literally can name them on your hand. So if you want to do that, and we want to get to the point we have like 100 of them, 100 developers that can build spaces that are comfortable for Black people to live in, you're going to have some patience with them. Now, they should update you. They should tell you what they're working on. They should always be transparent. But they're going to have to raise money the whole time. They're going to have to sustain themselves, and they're going to have to build. And that is extremely complicated. And just understand, if you invest in one of these spaces, you're investing in that entire learning process, growing process, not just, a house or something else. All right. This is Chairman Hunter. You caught me. I'm in my, I think my sweater's not even ironed, kind of wrinkled. But doing the work that we do, and this is just one little part of it. I mean, designing the houses, this is just a structural element of it. And there's still systems, water, lights, water, electricity. There's heating and cooling, all have to go into these structures. We have to think about the infrastructure that ties into them. And we have to hit all of this at one time and really try to make it work. So I was glad to share this little piece with you, and the kind of tediousness that goes into just the little things in order to make this into a reality. Much love, folks. Peace. For the first time, I'll say peace and hair grease. All right. Uhuru, assalamu alaikum. We will see you later.